Hey guys, Tony for you here, and today we're going to be talking about something very near and dear to my heart. Raidou Kuzunoha, some of my favorite games to come out of the SMT series. Just when I finished the second game and was cursing Atlas's name for not having another one, I realized there was a manga. And as a manga enjoyer, as well as Raidou Kuzunoha aficionado, I couldn't resist. Devil Summoner, Raidou Kuzunoha vs. the Lone Morebito, another adventure in the Raidou Kuzunoha name. Once I saw some of the artwork for this manga, I was hooked. The average panel is filled with so much detail it'll make your mind explode, and the splashes of color they add to accentuate the devastation that Raidou Kuzunoha's sword can reap, oh, it's beautiful. One thing I really like about this manga is they have these little description boxes for every demon that Raidou comes across in his adventure. This manga is about to make my videos obsolete. To get into the manga proper, first things first, I'm not entirely sure if this is canon, or when it takes place. Nagi is in the manga and mentions Jiren by name, but Tei Asakura knows nothing about Raidou's power, which goes against everything that was in the second game. And I guess the first game for that matter. Well, it doesn't matter, let's just treat this as a standalone story. The story starts off by showing you the setting and a little bit of what Raidou can do. The Narumi Detective Agency is a branch of the Yatagarasu, someone that gives missions to Raidou Kuzunoha to protect the capital from misfortune. This Raidou here is the 14th of the Raidou Kuzunoha name, a person destined to protect the capital. While Raidou is very similar to the way he is in the games, very stoic and silent, Narumi himself is somewhat of a comic relief character. Even with Raidou not speaking very much, he's surprisingly expressive and you get a good feel of his personality throughout the series. It's a testament to the expressive character designs and great writing. Gato Doji on the other hand speaks a lot throughout the manga, and you'll get a good feel for his personality. They took him from a more mentor figure and overseer in the game to a much more active role in the manga. As the manga progresses, you'll be seeing a more human side of Raidou as he gets emotional and attached to the people he's with, while Goto is a more pragmatic figure in his life. Sometimes they take it a little too far and he comes off as really quite rude, but at the end of the day, he does need to be there to explain the details of the ins and outs of the spirit world type aspect. At the end of the first chapter, Raidou solves the case without a hitch, you get to see a little bit of his power, and he goes back to being just an average busboy at the Narumi Detective Agency. And if you think this is just going to be a simple episodic type manga where he goes from case to case, well, you're wrong. Because the first panel of chapter 2 is this. A supernatural slaughter and a man transforming into a demon. This is cause for Raidou Kuzunoha to come into action. At this point you should probably have already noticed that this is quite gruesome for a manga. The games are M for mature and this manga is too. When Raidou goes to confront this human transformed into a demon, he gets brutalized. Blood everywhere, bones cracking, it's crazy. You truly get to see Raidou's ingenuity as a devil summoner. He doesn't go down without a fight. With his arm destroyed, he still defeats this manticore who's invisible. I really enjoy my main characters to be capable, and Raidou definitely is. He didn't get the title of Capital's Protector for no reason after all. After this chapter, it sets the scene for the members of the Yatagarasu. There's much more than just you and Nagi. Speaking of Nagi, in this chapter she really sucks. But don't worry, by the end of it, you'll love her. Also in this chapter, they introduce the coolest villain who ever lived, Jumanji Wagner, member of the Lone Morebito. Just look at him. Need I say more? Well, at the end he's defeated, and Nagi gets a head pat. That's adorable. In the next chapter, while Raidou goes to his admittedly very infrequent trips to school, he meets another member of the Yatagarasu, a member of the Information Bureau specifically, an onmyoji named Semeabe. They work together and bond over their investigation of the Lone Morebito. Skipping ahead a bit and getting to the real meat of the manga, Raidou, along with his investigation into the Lone Morebito, is also tasked with protecting the Kukuri Princess, one of 3. This one is named Kushinada specifically. Essentially, she is an infinite mag generator, someone with immense power that they don't want falling into the hands of the Lone Morebito. They have the other 2, and Raidou must protect this one at all costs. I really enjoyed Seime's and Kushinada's characters. They're written surprisingly human for characters in their unique circumstances. And as the story inevitably evolves into a save-the-world scenario, they transcend any tropes they initially started with and become really memorable characters. And that's not even mentioning Kushinada's admittedly pretty badass Nekomata. Baby Nekomata. As the chapters progress, Raidou finds more and more people transforming into demons, and it's because of a drug being mass-produced by the Lone Morebito. Raidou gets a first-hand look at the families that are being torn apart by this drug, and the effects it's having on the world. Raidou steels himself as he realizes the happy days with his friends may be coming to an end soon. And with Seime's help, he kicks the investigation into overdrive. Raidou also finds out that amongst the Yatagarasu members is a traitor. and that's where I'll stop with the story synopsis. Coming from a person who really loves SMT, and the Raidou Kuzunoha games specifically being some of my favorites, this manga really was awesome. At some points there were lulls in the story and it was kinda boring. I feel like they could have gotten this story across with a few less chapters, but overall I'd still think it was a worthwhile experience for reading. It is only 35 chapters, so it's not a huge investment either way. If you're anything like me and you really like Raidou Kuzunoha, especially the supernatural detective-like aesthetic, and you were just itching to know a little bit more about the lore of everything, this is amazing. If you're just a person looking for a manga to read and you don't necessarily love SMT, I'd still recommend this. It doesn't require any knowledge of the games to get into, not even the Raidou Kuzunoha ones, and the story and characters are really well above average. Totaling up to only 6 volumes and 34 chapters, Raidou Kuzunoha vs. the Lone Morebito is well worth the read. Well, that about wraps up my thoughts for this manga. I hope it helped you out a little bit. I enjoy making these shorter videos in between my longer uploads, so I hope you liked it. More manga reviews coming though, so stay tuned for that. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you really liked it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Tony For You. Have a good one.